pausing with the machine needle down through the fabric, like this now, and then lifting the presser foot so that you can pivot the fabric round, is a really useful technique in toy making, and I use it in 3 main ways. The first way is to help around tight curves, such as ears. I sew a few stitches and then we'll pivot just to keep the seam on course and make sure that the raw edges are lining up and everything's just on track and where it should be. The second way I use pivot points is at tricky corners, and now I often mark pivot points onto templates so they can be transferred onto the fabric pieces. So here I've transferred them, and you can see there's a blue dot to mark the pivot point, and I'm just going very slowly now up to this dot, and I want to pause with the needle down through the fabric on or as close to this dot as possible, and then I pivot there to go around the thumb, and this is a very tight curve, so again I'm going to just sew a couple of stitches and pivot, a couple of stitches and pivot, just to try and get that curve as accurate as possible. And I'm about to approach the next pivot point now, so slowly again, just to try and get the needle as close to or through that dot as possible, and then I can pivot once more and carry on around the bottom of the hand. And the last way is when you're sewing a piece around another piece. So in this example, I'm sewing a base around the bottom of the body. So it's only the base piece I want to turn. So I've stitched up to the pivot point, and I'm now lifting the presser foot, and I just want to turn this top piece of fabric, the base. So I'm using a tool here because I don't want to put my finger under the presser foot. I'm using this screwdriver because it's blunt, just to ease the fabric around the corner so it doesn't fold or tuck. And then I'm going to sew a couple of stitches to get away from the corner, and then pivot again just to make sure everything is lying nice and flat and where it should be, and there are no tucks or folds, and then I'm going to carry on.